Last week, Eskom Chairman Zola Tsotsi shocked South Africa when he announced the suspension of Eskom CEO Tsediso Matona and 3 top executives. Tsotsi has commissioned an investigation into the state of the utility. The latest moves at Eskom have been criticized by credit rating agencies and trade unions, with the NUM calling for Zola Tsotsi to be fired. What happens now? My guests are Kuseni Dlamini, Chairman of MassMart Holdings, and Khanyisile Kwenyama, Chief Executive Officer of Business Unity South Africa. Welcome to the show. Khanyisile Kwenyama, let me start with you. Just how bad is the impact on the economy of the situation at Eskom?
It's very bad, Justice. I mean, if you look at all the sectors that we represent as business, from the mining sector to manufacturing to all those, we have been crying out for the past year that the energy crisis needs to be resolved because our businesses are feeling the pinch. It's been a major cost driver for most of our businesses, if not all. It has literally destabilized a lot of small businesses whom we represent as well. So when the initiatives such as the War Room and the Energy Task Team, which we are part of as Busa, were put into place, then at least we felt that we were part of the solution and that we sit together with Eskom and government. And even though we see that it is dire straits, but we are there regularly seeing that we are part of the solution. So when you introduce a new intervention that we have no idea.
Let me stop you there. I want to come to the intervention, but I want your prognosis, Kuseni Dlamini, about if things are as bad as Khanyisile Kwenyama is saying, and we had 1.5% GDP growth last year, what's this economy looking like for this year and the next year and the year after that?
It's very tough, as we have seen from the economic growth projections. They could be better if Eskom was in a better shape. Eskom is systemically important to the South African economy. It affects all industries, even financial services industries, which fund companies in manufacturing, in mining, and in other sectors. In fact, it's just important to all of us. So it is very important that we stabilize it. We make sure that we restore operational efficiencies and effectiveness across the piece. I believe, Justice, that we have what it takes as a country to fix it. And I hope that what happened last week is just one step back in order for us to take 2 or 4 steps forward. If it is not that, that would be very unfortunate.
Let me stop you there because you both want to move to last week's event. So let's get to them. This is, both of you are business people. You understand the relationship between the shareholder and the board. Is there an appreciation by the shareholder of Eskom, which is the government, that things are bad here and you cannot begin by saying, oh, we send in Deputy President Ramaphosa to lead a war room, and then you have the board also suspending 4 of the top executives, one of whom has only been in the job for 6 weeks. It seems as if we're not talking about a joined-up government here, can you see?
6 months, not 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 months, yes.
6 months. But I mean, we read what the minister said about her as representing the shareholder, going out to Eskom and saying there is a problem here and you need to solve it. We obviously are not privy to that conversation and knowing exactly what she told Eskom, but we are told that it was the decision of the board of Eskom. And that talks to leadership, because the board has been at the helm of running this Eskom. And now when I go back to my favorite, intervention over intervention, then what are you saying? In any business, in any company, if you introduce a strategy, you have to see it through and make sure that it works. And if 6 months or 3 months down the line, you say, well, it's not working, I'm trying another one, then that tells us we are not on stable ground.
But what we have here is a situation where we are not told that it's not working. We're told there's another one. So you have 3 strategies, in fact, because you have the war room, you have the energy task team that you sit on, and now you have what happened last week.
Why would you introduce another one if it's working, if in your opinion it's working?
I'd like to think the attempt to initiate the war room, which Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa leads, quite well. It's really to make sure there is a well-coordinated, joined-up effort, and let's just allow time and see what comes out of that. The key thing is just not to point fingers at government. We in business also have to criticize, yes, but also we need to come with constructive solutions. We also need to be able to share the resources that we have in order to assist Eskom to find its feet.
Okay. Do you think you've spoken out enough? Many people would say, no, you guys in business have been very quiet and have chosen a strategy that says, you know, we don't want to alienate government because we're not going to get this or that work.
Well, the reason we are sitting here with you is I've been in this role since January, and literally every week it's about Eskom and speaking out on Eskom. The fact that we are sitting, you know, and this is after a lot of pushing on our side to be part of the solution. So that is speaking up, but we also recognize that there are problems behind there by sitting on that energy task team, and that, yes, we have to come together to make it work.
Okay.
But listen to us and hear what we are saying. You know, take on board the recommendations that we make, take on board the interventions that we make, that we are recommending, so that we can make it work.
If I may just come in on speaking out, I think business will be shooting itself in the foot if it doesn't speak out on the issues that matter. We have to be part of the national conversation. We need to be able to raise our voices when issues that are critical to the economy and society, success being under the spotlight.
Well, from the boardroom perspective, shouldn't international best practice would say to us here in South Africa that actually you have a war room led by the deputy president and some very capable people, and including people like yourselves. Shouldn't the board also step aside and let one key initiative say, long-term, short-term, these are the problems that we face, we should go for them? What I'm asking for you, clearly, from you, is to say whether the Eskom board, in this case, on Thursday and Wednesday, acted appropriately and gave out the right signals that would say to stakeholders, from ratings agencies to business, that we are on top of this crisis.
I would say no. I would say that as a key stakeholder, listening to the chairman of the board of Eskom, I didn't have the comfort that I knew what was going on. As a key stakeholder, that is part of the solution. The Eskom board has recently been changed, if you recall. So you also don't want to get into mode of changing boards every 3 months to achieve what is an operational problem. So it is a sticky one, it's a difficult one, but as a key stakeholder, we were taken aback, but we wouldn't be calling for firing and dismissals of boards.
Well, I would say Mr. Tsotsi, who's been there for 4 years, should himself not be part of the investigation, surely. Kuseni?
I'll argue that the board needs to be given a chance to execute on the job at hand.
Perhaps not the chairman, maybe the board, the rest of the board, which has been...
I'll be very careful to pass judgment on the chairman without having sufficient information.
Let's talk about the future then. What should happen at Eskom, Kuseni Dlamini? What are the ingredients that we need to make sure that in 4 years, 5 years, we don't have what happened to me this evening while I'm preparing to meet you and I have load shedding in my house? Where do we start?
The first thing, Justice, that I think it's important, we just need to realize as a nation that Eskom is just too important to fail. Or if I were to use the lexicon from financial services, it is too big to fail. If Eskom fails, we all fail. So we need to do all what it takes to firstly stabilize it, secondly, restore operational efficiencies and effectiveness, and thirdly, make sure that we have the right leaders, the right technocrats, the right managers, technicians, artisans, and general staff that are fit for purpose to be able to run this systemically very important entity to the South African economy.
One on that. I see you're nodding as Kuseni speaks. Do you agree with that? Do you think we've started doing that?
We had started doing that, you know, and without going into details of some of the weekly conversations that go on at the energy task team, but having identified very key areas, including the efficiencies, as you say, including addressing the skills. You know, when you have constant maintenance problems, you also need to start looking at saying, do we have the necessary skilled people in that place that are ensuring that they foresee They do it when it happens, and they do it right, so that it stays right. It doesn't break again. But then you also go into the future of Eskom and whether it should stay as using coal as its main, or are we supposed to look at other energy mixes, renewable energies, all that. And that just says that those conversations need to be very immediate, short-term interventions. They need to be medium-term, but then looking into the future of Eskom, as Kuseni said, we can't afford to have it fail. Therefore, what do we do and put in place to ensure that it is with us for hundreds of years beyond?
In your statement last week, Khanyisile, you said we call for, and this is your organization, Busa, we call for decisive leadership on this matter.
Yeah.
Now, if these are the ingredients we need, as Kuseni explains, is there leadership at shareholder level to say, yes, this is what we need to do, this is the plan we're going for?
We haven't had it since the announcement, but as I say, in the war room, as we have been sitting with the key stakeholders, being Eskom and government, we have seen that the people who sit there are empowered to say, do this and do it now, and we expect results. And that is why when another intervention comes, that we are not sure whether it is following along the same framework and the timelines that we have put, it makes us very edgy, and we say we need the stability. Kuseni has been using the stability quite a lot. Keep us stable so that we know that we are going to be part of the solution going forward.
Kuseni, you get 10 seconds to give us your last word on how we get out of the mess we're in. You need to solve the problems of the world.
We have what it takes to solve it. We just need to do what needs to be done. And I think there is enough brain power in this country to be able to really unlock the solutions that are required. We just need to tap into the resources that are there across all sectors, not just focus on government alone. Let's look at what business has to offer. There is a wealth of project management skills across business sectors that can be deployed to assist Eskom. And of course, the business sector has a lot to learn from Eskom and other state-owned entities as well.
Kuseni, Dlamini, Khanyisile Kwenyama, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much indeed.
After the break, our winner and loser of the week. Stay with us.